to share with you guys, everyone that I'm following that inspires me. And so JT is one of those people that inspires me. So welcome to Team TMI officially.
Excited.
Yes, we are excited to have you, beautiful. How are you?
Girl, woo.
Right. In
Listen,
natural form. And that's how we like it out here. We want the natural. Right. It's hoodie weather here in Atlanta, as y'all can see. It's
listen.
hoodie weather.
The hoodies are out. The hoodies, well,
Yes, ma'am.
the hoodies have been
Yes,
out,
ma'am.
but
It's hoodie weather.
it is beyond hoodie weather.
Right.
Well, remember the other day I was like, yo, y'all, it is sweater weather here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And
With
people
the
were
green and the
like,
white one.
man,
Yup.
listen.
With the green
I was
and the white
like,
one. I was there.
no. And excuse me, it's NFL season.
Okay.
My team won yesterday. We barely won, but
Y'all
we
beat the
won.
Giants.
We did beat the
Y'all
Giants,
beat the Giants. Y'all beat
which
the Giants.
I was like,
18 to
thank you.
21. I
Yes.
seen it.
Look, and we just could not score in the red zone. Everything was
The-
field goals, but I knew it was going to come down to the fourth quarter. It always does when we play the Giants. So,
right, right. But a
yeah.
W is a W. Jay
Hey,
talking
listen,
smack in the comments. Get him.
sometimes trash team.
Get him.
Oh, oops.
Get him.
See, look, early,
Jay talking
look, early this morning, your friends, some of
early.
your fellow
Early.
GLP
I
runners are up here
know.
talking smack.
Don't know how to
Some of
early
your
in
people,
the morning.
some of your people. So excuse my voice, but I wore my type 2 baddie
Yeah,
sweatshirt.
I love that. I
Thank
need one of
you.
those.
Yeah, yeah. I love this. It's by Reverie Boutique, and I love how inclusive she is with so many comorbidities, and especially with diabetes. And thank you for even asking me to come on this morning.
Oh,
And
you're welcome.
I love, and I was going to be on my walking pad, but my mom spent the night with me. She's a diehard Washington fan. She's been one since 1954. So,
What?
yeah, yeah. So,
Wow.
so it runs deep in our family. We're from Washington D.C. and
Okay.
she's here, and so I didn't want to wake her up, even though she says I
Okay.
wouldn't. So I'm in my basement, and we're getting the
Oh.
TV mounted and all of this.
Okay.
But
Morning, morning.
but yeah. So thank you, and I know that you have been trying to get me on, and I think our schedules just did
Yes.
not mesh until
Yes.
today.
Finally. Finally. I just had to get my squats in real quick.
I
Because
I love
we
it.
do all the things over here.
Listen, and one thing I've learned, and I'm still learning on this journey, is sometimes you have to do all the things until you find the things that work for you. And
Absolutely.
and when you find the things that work for you, that's when it seems like you're like in glide mode. It's like, okay, I am just gliding. So thank you for the introduction. I did not
Oh.
know that people were even like invested in my life. I
Oh yeah,
child
we are. Yeah, we are.
and
We are completely and fully.
I am so invested in, and it's something how you've never met someone face to face, but you're hold on,
Okay.
uh my believe it or not, people call me at like 6:30 in the morning,
Mm.
but but people, you you form an attachment, like an E attachment.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I never realized that because I was just like, well, and I think that I have said, well, I know I've said this before. I had to Google how to even how to make a TikTok. I didn't know,
Yeah.
even though I
Mhm.
had an account, I never posted. I didn't have a picture of nothing. And my very first TikTok post was I was so excited um, because Renfo had a sale on scale.
Mm.
And I was like, y'all, I found a Renfo scale and it was $19. And I'm like, yeah.
What?
And yeah, and that was my first TikTok.
Wow. I
I
didn't
was
know
like,
that.
yeah.
I
So
didn't know Renfro. Okay.
yeah, and I always had an affinity for that brand for some reason. And I did not have a scale in my house. And I didn't weigh myself the first month.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Was that on You're the second person that told me that they didn't have a scale in their house. And I was like, I grew up with a scale in my house. I knew when I moved out, like a scale was just a part of like pots and pans. You get a scale. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that people didn't have scales in their house.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Wow. So
I
the
did
Renfro
not
was your
have.
first scale?
No. When I lived with my mom, when I was younger, I had a scale. Um, I just never. Excuse me, my ear.
It's
Excuse me.
morning.
Look.
Morning.
Well, that and my ear. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Um, I I just never had a scale, even though I knew I was gaining weight. I knew something was off,
Okay.
but I just never had a scale. And I was
Wow.
just like, okay. And I really went more by the way my clothes fit.
Okay.
And I knew, and plus I could look at myself, but now looking back, I I like saw the I like definitely saw the inflammation, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
never had a scale. And so I didn't know that it was a thing to weigh yourself every week,
Right.
and like do an update. And so I, did that and I was just like, okay. And it was really just sharing when I came into the community, and I'm so grateful for that time. And I think I said last week, I've just become a little nostalgic. Like TikTok has been a whole vibe, but like
Right.
TikTok 2022, 2023 was like a whole era. And it's like if you could put that in a bottle and sell it,
Mm.
people would probably buy it.
Right.
But it literally was an era. And it wasn't, about, oh well, let me see if it like really wasn't a competition. And I'm not saying that it is now, but I think a lot of people have come into the community because they've seen people like you, they've seen people like, Shannon, like Jay, like, Simply Kim, um, uh, uh, Sade, who was like
Right.
the first person that I saw that looked like me that was on this
Mm.
journey. And I think that many people have come in and they've seen the results. And I think they've, seen the numbers. Good morning, Chris. Good morning. I have like 4 or 5 days of planks to make up, and I'll be making those up today. I'll be
Oh,
dead.
okay.
Look, I'll be half dead, but I'll be making those up today.
Right. I
And
wanted to ask a question.
yeah.
Okay. So I want to know, was it you that went to your doctor and said, there's this medication I'd like to try, or did your doctor recommend it to you based off of your type 2 diabetes?
My doctor recommended it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I had never heard of Mounjaro. I didn't know what
Okay.
it was. Um, I looked at her like she had three heads. I was like, what? And the first thing I asked was, is it like the mountain? Is it like
Oh,
Kilimanjaro?
right. Like mantra.
And she said,
Right.
and she took the pamphlet out and she was like, actually, it is. She was like, you see these little mountains right here with the M? I was like,
Right.
oh, yeah. And then she explained to me that it was like Ozempic. So the second thing that I did was I started singing the Ozempic jingle. I was like, oh,
Mm.
Ozempic. I was like
Mm.
that. She was like, yeah, like that. I still didn't know. I didn't know that people were using these medications for whatever reasons. And I
Right.
mean, even though Ozempic and Mounjaro have the FDA indication for type 2 diabetes, Zepbound wasn't out yet. Wegovy was out,
Okay.
but Zep wasn't
Okay.
out. This was December 2022.
Mm.
And and so that's why I kind of feel like in my head I'm an OG because I was prescribed it in 22. Uh, but um,
Right.
but I I had never heard of it, and I
Okay.
had gone into my physical, and I asked my doctor for help. I said I need help because we had tried to manage the type 2 with diet and exercise.
Okay.
I had always been active. I'd always eaten relatively clean, and
Right.
all of the things that worked in the past just didn't work anymore.
What was your starting A1C?
My starting A1C was well, now when I look back, I always say a 7.2, but when I actually still have, all of the readings from when I was first diagnosed in 2016. And my highest A1C had gotten up to a 7.4.
Mm. Okay. Were
And
you on metformin for it, or what? How were you treating it?
so that's the thing. We didn't treat it with anything. My doctor, who's my PCP, who's here in Atlanta,
Hmm.
um, thought with diet, exercise, it could bring it down. So we were trying to. So we started treating it very conservatively.
Okay.
How I knew I possibly had type 2 was, I'll never forget it. I was in Detroit. I was on a layover and I had met one of my sorority sisters for dinner. And I ate dinner, and about 2 or 3 o'clock that morning, the bottom of my feet felt like a cactus was
Really? The
was like just
neuropathy?
rubbing. I didn't know it was neuropathy. I didn't know. I'm like, what is
Wow.
this? And my mom has type 2 diabetes. About 85 to 90% of my family has type 2, come to find out. And so on my mom's side.
Okay.
So when they say that it's genetics, I truly believe that. I truly
Mm-hmm.
do. Um,
Yeah.
and I found out that way, and I told my doctor, and I was like, and then I was going to the bathroom more. I was like, and I just started noticing that, and other things, but pretty much my body was saying that I'm not processing
You need it.
sugar.
Right.
And
The
so
way
it was
you used
processed.
to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so that is how I found out in 2016, just having a good relationship with my doctor. But she prescribed it.
She did.
She said, I think that there's something that can help you. She said that can help get this A1C under control and that can get the weight under control.
Okay.
And I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, okay, sign me up. And,
Right.
you know, and one thing about me is that I am not afraid of medical treatments.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean,
Okay.
um, I,
If it's
I
gonna help you, you're like, I
yeah,
wanna do it. Okay.
yeah,
I want to
yeah.
um I want to shift gears for a minute, only because I'm a firm believer that it's not just about the medicine, it's the overall, especially mentally. How did you mentally prepare to be able to take an injection once a week from not even having to take the metformin? Because
Right.
I know for me, like you said, I got prescribed the medication in December of 22, but I
Mhm.
didn't start till March of 23 because I had never given myself an injection before. It sat at the pharmacy, it sat in my refrigerator for months
Really?
before I started. Yeah.
No
So, how did you
way.
make the mental shift to be like, I need to do this?
Well, excuse me. Well, you and I are very similar because I detest needles. I detest them. But I think that
Okay.
I was at such a point where I literally was like, something's got to give.
Okay.
It was to the point where when I'm walking with my crews, like in the airport, I could not keep up because
Mm.
because I was having breathing problems.
Okay.
Um, I when I would drive to work, I'd have to unbutton my uniform pants
Because they was tight.
because they were tight. But yet, if I went up to a 16, it would have been too big. But I was at
Mm.
14, and
Okay.
I literally was just like, okay, I was running late. So I got out the car, I was running for the bus, and I forgot to button my pants. My pants
Mm.
almost fell down in the Delta employee parking lot.
No.
Yeah, Look, yeah, look, true story. So after going through all of that, I knew something had to change, but I really didn't even, well, even though my doctor said Mount Jarl was an injection, sometimes I think that we can be sometimes I think we can be a little over prepared because then you really can't
Mm-hmm.
really get or stay in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I would have, even though my doctor said it's a weekly injection, and she told me, but she was like, needle is really small. And I was like, okay. I, the day I got the text, my insurance company lost my PA.
What? They lost it?
They lost my PA. I was prescribed Mounjaro December 19th, 2022. I did not
Okay.
I just happened to call because during the holidays everything is kind of shut down,
Right. It's
right?
crazy. Hectic there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So I was given grace for that. Finally, one day I called and I was like, I need to find out about this medicine that my doctor called about. They had me on hold. Let me tell you, I heard them clickety clacketing on the
Mm-mm.
on the keyboard frantically trying to find this PA. When they found it after about almost a minute, they were like, "Oh my gosh, there it is."
Wow.
So
Wow.
so I went almost a month with no treatment of what my
Okay.
doctor said. So, but I think that because we've been sharing our stories, and I know like I used to do injection days because people would ask me, well, how do you inject in the back of your arm by yourself? And I
Right.
actually did a video on that showing how I did it. And I think I think that the social media stories were a blessing and a curse because I think in a way, instead of going into it um, with almost blind faith,
Mm-hmm.
many times we were in our head about it, and
Right.
and it and it really became a hurdle, and people were almost like their worst enemy. So when
Right.
it came to me taking an injection, when CVS texted me to say that it was ready, I
You
went. It was on
you
a
was
Tuesday.
ready at that point.
I was ready. And I
Okay.
took it out the box. I looked and I was like, okay, what do I do with this? It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll never forget it because One Life to Live was on. And
Mm.
and I tried calling some friends because I was nervous, and no one answered. And I guess because everyone had a job, and I
Right.
was off that day. I turned on some music. I was in my bathroom, and I was like, all right. Whew. It took me about 15 minutes to psych myself out,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
did it. After I did it, I was like, you mean I was stressing over all of this?
Yep. Exact words. Exact words.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Exact words.
I was stressing over this. Man, listen, I was kicking myself because
Yep.
I should have been
Yep.
done this like 10 minutes ago, but
Yep.
everything in time.
Absolutely.
And so after that, I had no more issues. And I, understand when people are like, oh my gosh. But for me, I was just at a point in my life, I was like, I knew that I couldn't continue on the road that I was on. And I
Okay.
knew that something had to change. And insanity is thinking that something's going to change when you're doing the same thing that you've been doing.
Right. Right. So I know that you're a Pilates girl, right? Is
Yeah.
there any other type of mindfulness practices that JT uses? Like, I know for me, I'm a manifestation girl. Y'all all know that. But is there anything else that JT does? Because I feel like Pilates is mindfulness,
It is.
right? Like,
Mhm.
is there anything else that you do? Um, any other type of mindfulness practices?
Yeah. Let me just, I see Dee's comment where she's like, because we only got one life, that was a sign for you.
Right.
You know
It
what?
was.
You know what? And I actually never looked at it that way, but yeah, that that is what it was. Um, I am a health and wellness girly to the bone. Um,
Okay.
and mindfulness and, the like clean and the dirty water recipes, like
Right. All the
all of
things.
that is me. Um,
Okay.
on on top of being a GLP-1 girly.
Okay.
So, but Pilates is definite mindfulness. Um,
Absolutely.
and I believe in manifestation, prayer, manifestation. Um,
You see Chris
JT's
messing with
mindfulness
you.
is Pava. Yes, look,
Now these your people.
man,
Now these your people.
listen, look,
Your
listen.
friends.
I'm gonna stick beside him. I'm gonna stick beside him, Lett. No. But
Your friends.
Kava is my jam. But I believe in manifestation. Um, I wrote, and it's so funny. Michelle Says, who's like one of the original OGs, and yes,
I follow Michelle.
yes,
I love Michelle.
I love Michelle, and she and I message, and she's she's a wellness girly too. And
Hmm.
so we talk about manifestation and everything. And I wrote a letter to myself, and I truly believe in the power of the pen.
Absolutely.
Yes, Pilates and matcha and manifestation.
Okay.
And look, and I'm going to get a matcha latte this morning. So, um, so I wrote down just like a letter to myself of how I wanted my life, of how I believed I wanted my life to be, but how I
Okay.
wanted it to align with how God wanted my life to be.
Hmm.
Um, Lo and behold, I put it in my nightstand. And one day, about a couple weeks ago, I took the letter out of the nightstand and I read it. And can I tell you, almost everything that I had written
Mm.
has started coming to pass. So I, love Pilates. They're opening a studio closer to me, which I'm so excited
Okay.
about. But that's not opening until December, but I'm very excited about that. I love journaling.
Mm.
Again, the
Okay.
power of the pen.
Right. We are
And
alike in that sense.
yeah, it
Yeah.
It is really something to it. Also, I saw a TikTok where there's something where you can like manifest through Chat GPT or something. It's
Yes, that has been
good.
really helpful.
And
I'm
I so haven't done it yet,
really,
but I said that I was going to
girl.
do it this week. Is it helpful?
Yes, it
No.
most definitely is. Affirmations, manifestations. And
Yeah.
so, what I choose to do with them is I'll take them and then I'll record my voice saying them. So, I listen to them every morning while I'm
Mm.
getting ready after I do my meditation and, my time with God.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
then listen to my manifestations in my own voice over and over. And when I tell you, I am living in my manifestations right now, and they've been happening so quickly. Like, the things that I've been manifesting maybe March, April, I started manifesting in August and September. Like, and it is such an amazing feeling. But it's not about me, it's about you. Go ahead.
No,
I'm
no,
quiet now.
look, 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 no, no, no. This,
No.
look, no, no, no. This is definitely about us. My home, I prayed, manifested. It was during the height of COVID. That was like in March, April when the shutdown happened. I closed that same year on in December.
Really? Just
Yep,
like that.
just like that.
I'm telling people manifestations work. Like, all you have to do is give it a try.
They
If they
do.
happen, they are definitely working. But okay, how do you? I want to know, how do you decide what you will and won't share on social media? Because I know for a lot of creators, it's kind of like the people want to know, right? The people want
Mhm.
to know. I want to tell them, but certain things I'm not willing to share. How did you find the line in what you would and wouldn't share?
You you asked some of the best questions.
Because I'm
Um,
nosy.
yeah,
Because
I love, listen,
I'm nosy.
listen, I love the coming to you from the GLP-1 hospitals in Atlanta. Yes, I don't miss much. Look, I don't miss much. I may not say much, but I don't miss much.
I
I look,
see.
I am a Virgo and I'm from Washington, D.C., so my head is always
Mm.
on swivel.
On
Um,
a swivel. Got
yeah,
to.
yeah, but I may not move as fast, but you best believe that I saw it. And I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I see you, I
Right.
see you.
We peep
Um,
shade quick. Now, I
look,
just might not
listen,
jump on you at the time, but we going to peep that. Okay.
right,
I got you.
look, you like mental note, okay, I got you.
Right.
Yeah, listen, but for me, with sharing, and that is such a great question, and thank you. Um,
You're welcome.
I just always go by the inner compass of
Okay.
of
Discernment, all of
how
that. Like, right.
that and maybe someone else is going through this also. So,
Okay.
especially when I posted about my enlarged thyroid,
Mm.
20,000. I think that video got like 20,000 views, like something crazy.
What?
Yeah, yeah. People started messaging me that weren't even in the community, and they were like, "We saw your video about enlarged thyroid. How were you
Wow.
going through this?" So and that's what and I'm sorry, but people that know me know that I go by God guiding me. And many times videos aren't planned. I don't plan my content. I don't. Um,
Really?
mm-mm. everything comes off of, oh, and sometimes like I'll be at work and I'll be like, oh well, this may be fun to share, or this this sound is funny, and and sometimes it hits with the algorithm, sometimes it
Right.
doesn't. Okay, fine. But I was like, I can't be on social media and live for the algorithm, because the
Right.
algorithm is not loyal. And are you here for the algorithm or are you here for the community?
Absolutely.
And
Okay.
for me, it is the latter. And I don't plan my content. Everything is organic.
I love that.
Yeah. But that's how I decide what to share. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this will help someone. And so I just kind of post that way. And
Okay.
I still do my best to stay community centric, community focused, because that's what I came into. And I
You
guess
came
hopefully
into
it
an
is working.
organic community because people
Yeah.
weren't, they were just sharing their story and sharing their journeys. So I
That,
get it.
yeah, that, and please let me say this, that, the social media landscape in general has evolved. I don't want to say changed, but it definitely has evolved. I don't see, anything with, anything wrong with, people wanting to monetize their
Right.
platforms. If that's what they want to do, then that's their platform, because there's something out there for everyone. So
Right.
just because that may not be for you doesn't mean that that's not what it should be. I do TikTok shop, but I was doing like pseudo TikTok shop last spring, even before it was even out. And I was sharing about Strivectin neck cream. Like, I was so stinking excited about Strivectin neck cream because I was having a saggy neck. And I did a
Mm-hmm.
video on Strivectin neck cream. Can I tell you that video is still performing? It has 75,000 views
What?
on Strivectin neck cream. And it was all because I had a saggy neck and I wasn't getting anything out of it. I never got a deal from Strivectin.
Wow.
Nothing. All I said was, y'all, I found this. I think it may help with saggy neck.
And that was it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So JT is in maintenance.
Yes.
Is it harder? Because I've been hearing people say, I don't know, I'm not there yet. People are saying that are in maintenance that it's harder to be in maintenance than it was to lose the weight. Is
Yes.
that true for you?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I
Yes.
was excited about maintenance, but I don't know if I'm excited now.
Why not?
Really?
Yeah.
No, because they said like it's like a whole nother level of the journey.
It is. It is. Do you want me like to be like real, or do you want me
Yes,
just to
very much so. No, no. Please don't pity pat with us.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I see Elizabeth Marie is here. Elizabeth Marie really is the person that keeps me accountable. And a lot of people don't know that.
Really?
Elizabeth
Okay.
Marie is a registered nurse. Elizabeth Marie let me tell you, she is one of my mods. She and Tay are two of the best mods in this community.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Marie keeps me in check in terms of the diabetes. She keeps me in check of,
Really?
yeah, listen, listen. Elizabeth Marie will be like, look here. And she will text me and be like, are you eating enough today? Because sometimes, especially at work, I will continue and we get so busy. And with having type 2, once you miss a meal, it's very difficult to catch up in terms of your glucose. You can't really
It
catch
is. Right.
up. So maintenance. Yeah. Maintenance is another phase of the journey. And because this one's lifelong. The easy part was losing the weight. That right there was the easy
Really?
part. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
Compared to maintenance.
Yes. Or go live with a low sugar scare. Yeah. Okay. So I used to
Yeah.
do that too, that my sugar would crash and I would be on live and I'd be like, okay, yeah. This community has been through it all with me. And
Wow.
yeah. And Tay literally was calling. She would be like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because people could see my sugars were dropping, and I was. So when my sugars get low, I get very sleepy. And I never experienced that until Mount Jaro, but because the medication was helping my body function the way that it should,
Right.
I didn't know, not necessarily with low sugars, but of you have to eat those smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day. And that's why for me and what my doctor had said, and I know yesterday, Simply Kim Geechee Girl had a live that if like I could have jumped through the phone, I like would have.
Right.
With like excitement, you know.
Right. It was so good. I had to text her after. It was really good.
It was beyond good because let me tell you, having type 2 diabetes, and it's not saying putting one disease above another, but type 2 is what it is. It is type 2 diabetes.
Right.
And getting in enough food. Maintenance is lifelong. Maintenance is another level of the journey because here's the thing. When you're in active weight loss, you and your doctor discuss the dosing and it's like, okay, yeah. And you know the end result of what you want, right? With maintenance, here's the thing.
Hold on for me 1 minute.
Yes, maintenance is a struggle. Hey, Amy. Yeah. Almost a year and a half. I am almost a year in maintenance, Amy. But so yeah, sorry, I was looking at a comment. But here is the thing. It's the dosing, it's the nutrition, and it's the movement, which is the same as active weight loss, but the difference is for me it's really the dosing and the nutrition because you've met your health goal, you've met your weight goal, whatever that is for you, right? You don't want to go too low in terms of your dosing because then you kind of throw off everything working in sync. However, just like Dr. Rentia has said many times, you can have more than one maintenance dose.
Okay.
And finding that equilibrium is the challenge. And in terms of not losing any more weight, my goal was 150. I'm now between 140 and 144.
Okay.
And it's like, how do I stop losing weight? Now, because of the diabetes and my doctor has recommended going down in dose, but still injecting weekly. Weekly. Yes. And especially for those with type 2, you really have to look because the half-life of the medication is 5 days, right? So if the half-life is 5 days, and if we're spreading our injections out, you're possibly going 7 to 10 days with no medication and your pancreas going wild, possibly.
Right.
So that, and Dr. Michael Albert has said that, and I remember the first time I heard him say that, I thought, that makes no sense. But the more you think about it, it actually does make a whole lot of sense because the optimal therapy is still weekly injections. I had titrated down to a 7.5, back down to 7.5, one of my favorite doses. However, the glucose numbers started to creep up. So it's like, so now we've got to go to 10 to see how that works. What did she say? What are your thoughts about when trying to conceive? Okay, so I'm sorry. It was it was this one comment. Seems like maintenance is more of a concept. I've noticed a lot of people in maintenance lose more. Yeah, it's and that's the thing. And I don't know if it's a mental thing, because mentally you're not trying to lose any more weight, and it's like you almost attract the thing that you're not really pressed about anymore.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
But and maintenance, and also body recomposition.
That part. Is
Body,
that where the Samorlin came in at? Because I know that you were a lipo C girl, right?
yeah, I'm a lipo B girl more now, because
Okay.
I really am not trying to lose. When I get on my little Renfo scale, all my numbers are green now, instead of
Really?
yes,
Oh,
instead
I
of
was
red.
That Renpro, when I first got on it, I was like, why you telling all my business? I wasn't ready for that visceral fat number, JT. I
No,
wasn't. That thing,
it'll bring you back to reality real quick,
quick.
fast.
When you think you're doing something, that scale going down, and you see them numbers, you be like, oh, I really got work to do.
Yeah.
Look,
Go ahead.
yeah, and that's why I love it. And there are other, smart scales, but at the time
Right.
when I started, it was Renfo, and so that's what I, stuck with. But when you see those numbers, when I started Samorlin, when I started Lipo B, nobody was really talking about it in the community. And one of my girlfriends, who has since lost like 200 pounds on Mount Jaro.
Really?
She lost no, I'm sorry. She lost 240 pounds on Mount Jaro.
What?
Real talk. So I was talking to her one day, and I was like, this fatigue has, like, something's got to give. But I never thought about stopping the medication. But
Right.
you talk about somebody who was tired. Oh my gosh, I was so tired. And I asked her, I was like, what do you recommend? Because I knew, she had been on this journey, and you kind of look to those that have come before you,
Right.
And she said, well, why don't you try Lipo B? She said, the B12 will help with energy. And I said, okay. So
Right.
I went to the website that she suggested, which was the Body Clinic, and I'm not trying to sell anybody anything, but
Right.
and I went and I made my purchase. It's so funny. I found my first invoice from the Body Clinic. I don't know how I found it. And I said, oh my gosh, it was dated October 3rd. And it was February 13th, 2023. And it took like maybe 4 or 5 days to get it. Okay. Because they weren't as popular as they are now. And I was just like, okay, mind you, I detest needles, but I knew something had to change. I started taking it, and I said, I'm starting to feel better. I didn't even hear the lipo part. I didn't hear it. All I heard was B12. Then I said, okay, well, let me order another one. And this time I ordered the dual therapy, where it was the Lipo B and Lipo C. And I was like, okay, well, let me see. So this was March. And in April, Simply Kim started talking about it. And I think on one of my lives, I was like, yeah, I've been using it since February. And people were like, are you serious? And you never said anything? And I was like, well, I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm sorry. I didn't think to share it. And when that happened, the whole trajectory, and I think a lot of people already knew about it or were using it, but they just didn't say anything, but it opened the conversation for it. And then I started Samorlin. I met my goal in October 16th, 2023. And I did my maintenance. I met my goal video at Starbucks. I went and got like a chai tea latte just to celebrate. And and I did the video in my truck, and I was just like, wow, I did it. And I had been with Iveen, because I needed, and I still need, and I think for anyone on this journey, hopefully you can check in with your medical provider every 4 to 6 weeks. I think it is utterly critical to do so. And I still have my PCP, but I needed the extra support. And IV helped with that. Plush Care stopped, and I was with Plush, and I absolutely loved them, but they stopped taking my insurance. So I went with IV, and I've been with them ever since. And they, during one of my visits, they were like, well, what about, Samorlin, where I was talking to them, and I'll say what I was saying during my appointment. And I said, well, I've noticed like the fat, you see, look, see.
Right.
Now, mind you, it isn't what it was. It's much better. And it was funny because Bourbon RX hadn't come to IBEAM yet. And I was actually, and I talked to the vice president of the company too, one of the VPs, and she has a health journey too. And she was saying, well, Samorlin, even with the type 2, you could use it, but it may have to be, catered, because Samorlin can potentially raise your blood sugars. But yeah, so the thing is, but she said, and because I had insomnia really bad too. I had insomnia really, really bad. So for me, it's fatigue, insomnia, and constipation. And she said, but what we could do is cater the treatment, see how it works. If not, back from it, which I could appreciate. We started it. One thing I will say, I didn't really see results until like about a month and a half in. So it isn't anything that's instant, but what gave me some comfort was that it was FDA approved. But being a health and wellness girly, I'm like open to peptides too, but I don't believe in taking a whole bunch of stuff, or if like I can get a benefit out of something, like a twofer out of a product, if it does more than one thing, I'm all for it,
Okay.
And now looking back, in a way, I wish I would have started Samorlin when I was about 10 to 20 pounds from my goal.
Why?
Yeah. I say that because when I look at pictures, and I'll never forget, I was in Target and I could see the difference. Obviously, the A1C, the glucose, all of that was coming, was getting in line. That was paramount. Okay. The weight, yes, definitely the weight, but the glucose, once that blood sugar got in control, usually for those that have type 2, everything else kind of falls into place, right? Mm-hmm. So when I tell you, I wish I would have started when I was 10 to 20 pounds from goal. I think that when anyone is 10 to 20 pounds from their goal, you should definitely be having conversations with your provider, because your weight loss may slow down a little bit, but it's going to get here really fast. And I think I could have started the body recomposition process while I was getting close to my goal, as opposed to waiting until I got to my goal and then start the body recomp process. I don't think that they have to be mutually exclusive. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
You can walk and chew gum at the same time. People have asked me in lives, in DMs, would you, wait until you got to your goal to use Lipo B or Lipo C? For me, heck no. Okay. For me, if you're in active weight loss, why would you wait and not use a fat burner, not use something that can help with hair, skin, and nails because of the inositol, you know.
Right.
But I probably would have started using Samorlin a little earlier. I did do a video on it last year, and oh wow, and and people were asking about it. I just did another video because we're continuing with the questions. But yes, look, definitely give them to Lett. But you know, maintenance is something that when you get to about 10 pounds out, you really need to start having conversations, and you really need to start having a plan in place. It's so important. For me, it was adding some more. I think now when you look at me, when you look at my pictures, I can tell where I've slimmed out. So it's not about necessarily the weight. It's about
the body recomposition. Okay.
yeah.
So we've discussed mindfulness. We've discussed type 2 diabetes. What's next for JT now that you're a year in maintenance? What's next for you?
Oh, wow. Wow. Continuing to advocate for, hey Carly, continuing to advocate for type 2 diabetes and for obesity. But I have various passions. Fashion has always been a passion. And that was my major, was fashion merchandising in college.
Okay.
And I have been thinking about that. I'm like, okay, what now? So I've kind of been in like the twixt and in betweens of like,
Okay.
what now? And one thing I will say, GLP-1s give you a freedom that I think many of us have never experienced. Maybe like being felt like you've had the chains of health, being,
Right.
and dealing with comorbidities. So I don't really know. I do get a lot of emails. I get, brand deal offers. I really haven't explored that. So I'm starting to check my email more.
Right. And check out your options.
Yeah.
And it's just good. It feels good to just have options now, right?
Yes, it feels wonderful to have options. And I look and it's like, please don't get me wrong. Even when I was the woman, I was the girl in the 198-pound body, I still had options. Let's not get that twisted,
Right. Absolutely.
But I think mentally, the mental aspect of it is where that is the key. Because I think when people can see that their goals are within reach and that it really can happen for them, it really can happen for you. I think that that's the game changer. And that's when you start to really believe in yourself. Yes, you're seeing the transformation on the outside, but it's really the transformation inside and up here. And I'm just keeping the options open. I will say,
I love that for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know, and I can't really give a definitive answer, and I'm not trying to not answer your question, but this is
I know
that I have been like, okay, now what?
It's uncharted territory. You at this age, at this, having the wisdom that you have now, it's something that you haven't experienced before.
No.
Right?
Listen, my birthday is this Friday, and I'll be 52. And I feel better at 52 than I did at 32.
And I think that is the perfect way for us to end this on that note. Better at 52 than 32. I want to thank you, JT, for taking the time out of your morning to come and share with us. It's time for me to go make the donuts. You know how that goes.
But definitely, but thank you. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome. You're
for
welcome.
thank you so much for even considering me and having me on your platform. I absolutely love it. Thank you for us that are health and wellness girlies and GLP-1 girlies. You know, thank you. And even though I may not be walking with you, I may be getting ready for work or something, you don't, I don't think you realize your contribution to the community. And we have to give you your flowers while you can smell them. And so thank you. And I'm just grateful that I was able to play a small part. Representation matters.
Absolutely.
Representation matters. And I didn't realize that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I always realize that, but representation definitely matters. And
it does. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming in and spending time with us. You could have spent this last hour with anyone, but you chose to spend it with us, and I am eternally grateful. I want you all to have an amazing day. Know that I love you, and I will see you again tomorrow, same time.
Love you
all. Thanks again, JT. Love you. Have a great day.
Love you too. Bye.